Have you ever had a plan for your life that completely fell apart? The job didn't work out. The relationship ended. The opportunity you were counting on disappeared. And suddenly you're left wondering, God, what happened to the plan? But what if the plan that failed was never meant to be the one that carried your future? Today, from Grandma's heart, I want to remind you of something comforting. When your plan A fails, God already has a plan B. Let me tell you something life has taught me over the years. Sometimes the plans we hold so tightly in our hands are not the plans God intends to place in our lives. And when those plans fall apart, it can feel like the ground beneath your feet has suddenly disappeared. You had it all mapped out. You knew where you were going. You knew what the next step was supposed to be. You believed everything was finally lining up. Then, suddenly, Plan A collapses. The job you counted on doesn't come through. The relationship you believed would last forever falls apart. The door you were certain God opened suddenly closes. And in that moment, you might find yourself asking the same question so many of us have whispered through tears. God, what is happening? I remember a season in my life when I believed I had everything figured out. I had a plan that made perfect sense to me. I prayed about it. I worked toward it. I truly believed this was the path I was supposed to walk. But one by one, the pieces of that plan began to crumble. The opportunity disappeared. The timing fell apart. And the doors I expected to open stayed tightly shut. For a while, I felt confused, even a little disappointed, because sometimes we mistake our plans for God's promises. But time has a way of revealing things our hearts couldn't see in the moment. You see, God is not limited by our plans. When Plan A falls apart, heaven is not scrambling to figure out what to do next. God is never surprised by the detours in our lives. He already knows the road ahead. Sometimes what feels like a failure is actually God protecting you from something that was never meant for you. Sometimes what feels like rejection is really divine redirection. And sometimes the door that closes in your face is the very thing that pushes you toward the life God truly prepared for you. Let me tell you something comforting. God has never been confined to just one way of blessing your life. Just because one opportunity slipped through your fingers doesn't mean your future slipped away with it. Just because one relationship ended doesn't mean love has disappeared from your story. Just because one dream didn't work out doesn't mean your purpose has been canceled. My dear heart, God always has another plan. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs that many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. And sometimes that purpose unfolds in ways we never expected. Joseph in the Bible surely had a plan for his life, but he never planned to be betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. Yet every painful step that looked like failure was actually positioning him for something greater. Years later, he stood in a palace instead of a prison. What looked like devastation became preparation. And that's something I want you to remember today. Just because your plan didn't work doesn't mean God's plan failed. It simply means God may be writing a different chapter than the one you imagined. Sometimes Plan A fails because God is protecting you from a road that would have taken you far away from your purpose. Sometimes Plan A fails because God is building something deeper inside of you first. Faith, patience, wisdom, and strength. And sometimes Plan A fails because God has something better, even though you cannot see it yet. Now, I know that word better can be hard to believe when your heart is hurting. When disappointment is fresh, it doesn't feel like a blessing, it feels like loss. But one of the greatest lessons life teaches us is this: God can turn detours into destinations. He can take broken pieces and build something beautiful. He can take the very thing that made you cry and later use it to bless your life in ways you never imagined. I've lived long enough to look back and see moments that once felt like devastating setbacks. And now I realize if God had given me everything I once asked for, I would have missed the very blessings that later filled my life with peace. Sometimes the prayers God doesn't answer are the ones that protect us the most. So if you are sitting in a place today where plan A has fallen apart, if you're wondering why things didn't work out the way you hoped, let Grandma remind you of something. Your story is not over. God is still writing it. The closed door was not the end of your journey. It was simply a turn in the road. And somewhere ahead of you is a path you could not see from where you once stood. A path where God's wisdom replaces your confusion. A path where His timing replaces your frustration. A path where His purpose unfolds in ways greater than the plans you once carried. So don't lose heart. Trust the God who sees what you cannot. Trust the God who knows the beginning and the ending. And trust the God who specializes in turning broken plans into beautiful purposes. Because when your plan A fails, God already has a plan B. And sometimes, my dear heart, plan B becomes the greatest blessing of all. If this message spoke to your heart today, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who might be struggling with disappointment. And if you enjoy messages of faith, wisdom, and encouragement from Grandma's heart, be sure to subscribe to Renewed Mind 369 so you don't miss the next message. Until next time, remember this: God's plans for you are never limited by the plans that didn't work out. Now take a few moments to get our free download of our inspiring 21-day prayer journey to assist you in elevating your prayer life and draw closer to God. The link is in the description.